Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I'm reviewing Ninjago Crystallized set number 71774, Lloyd's Golden Ultra Dragon. This set has 989 pieces, 9 minifigures, and it retails for an insane $150 US. It was supposed to be $140. Sadly, that price did go up when LEGO increased prices worldwide on August 1st. But surprisingly, I still really like this set. I have not liked Ninjago dragons this much in years, but I think that this dragon might be my favorite since the original Ultra Dragon in 2012. We get an awesome exclusive golden Oni Lloyd in this set. He goes with the Oni Garmadon that comes in the Nia Samurai X Mech set, which I've already reviewed, and I really love these Oni versions of these minifigures. There's a lot of gold in this set, obviously, but this minifigure just looks perfect. Like, I really love LEGO's pearl gold color in general, and getting minifigures that are completely decked out in pearl gold like this does feel special, even if it's not as cool as chrome gold. I love the printing on the torso and legs there. I love the print on the mask as well. And then lifting this up, oh, actually, never mind. I forgot these ones can't lift up, actually, which is a minor annoyance. But he does have the same old face print that he's been using since the LEGO Ninjago movie, which is very annoying. There's a quick look at his awesome back printing. I really like the design that they chose for this minifigure. We do have all 4 Golden Ninja in this set, so we'll start off with Kai. I really like how in 2022 these Golden Ninja are still like their primary element color for the most part, just with golden highlights. I think that that works really well, and it's a nice change of pace from the all golden minifigures that we got for the anniversary. Same old faces on all of these guys, and then here is a look at his back print. Here's Golden Jay. He might be my favorite of all of these just because I really like that blue and gold combination. And I do like the prints that they've gone with, like the designs that they've gone with for these minifigures as well, because they still look like pretty classic versions of the Ninja, but they also look heightened and more elaborate. Zane is probably my least favorite of these guys just because I don't love the white and gold combination on a minifigure. And I really hate that blue, like, tie, like waistband, whatever that is, the belt. I think it throws off the entire figure. I do not think they should have inserted blue into a figure that doesn't really have it anywhere else. I really wish that they had made a new face for Zane this year because he's never this angry, and I think it's really dumb that that's the only face that LEGO uses for him. And here is a look at his back print. Cole is in kind of the same boat as Zane for me. I think the orange highlights on this minifigure were wholly unnecessary. But other than that, he looks cool. I do like the simple symbols on all of their headgear as well. Same face. There's the alternate. And then, of course, here's a look at his back print, which is pretty nice. You do get the full 4-armed Crystal King in this set, which is an incredible minifigure. But I guess LEGO thought he didn't need 4 hands for my copy of this set. Yeah, so this minifigure came missing a hand. Like, it just wasn't in the torso. It wasn't in the bag either. So that's really weird to me. I've never seen that before. That seems like the kind of thing that's pretty hard to get past, you know, like factory checks. But it is pretty cool. I mean, obviously it's no different than just popping out the hand yourself. But I mean, you just don't expect mistakes like that in a LEGO set. It doesn't bother me that much because I already have another version of this minifigure, and black minifigure hands are pretty common. But yeah, it's just a weird mistake. The printing on this figure is gorgeous. I really love this figure. I loved 4-armed Ninjago villains in general. Love the mask on him as well. That is a new mold. I do wish they had printed the back of this torso, though. I don't think LEGO's ever done that, and this would be like a good time to do it. And this one can lift up because it's a taller mold, and underneath you can see the Overlord's face. Here's a slightly better look at kind of the base version of the figure with that great torso print now a little bit uncovered. And oh, he has printing on the back of his head. This is the first time I've noticed that. I don't think I've taken his helmet off all the way in the other sets where I've reviewed him. But that is a really nice touch. That is awesome. I can't believe I'm noticing that for the first time. Here is a Vengestone Warrior. Nothing really separates this figure from the other ones besides the fact that his torso print is a little bit different. I do wish the Warrior minifigures included like armor or something like that, because I feel like these guys would be way cooler with a little bit of armor, although they're pretty nice already. You guys know I love that head mold, and I like all the transparent pink. This guy is a Vengestone Brute, and again, the only difference is that they've got a different torso with another transparent arm, and just more pink in general. But yeah, they've all got these weapons with the new crystal blade pieces. And you get one more Vengestone Brute in this set, so that's pretty nice because you do get a nice little army of these enemies. There is one tiny little side build in this set, but it is pretty cool. This is the Overlord's throne with the golden weapons. At least I'm pretty sure it's his throne because it's got the crystals coming out of it. And I really, really like this thing. It's very simply constructed, and you can see like these Technic parts back here. But I really like the gold touches. I like the crystal blades coming out the back, and the fact that it can fit all 4 of the new like golden weapons is pretty cool. And they look really nice kind of all arranged like this. So you can go ahead and take the Crystal King and you can lift up his swords and then try to like sit him down. This is a much more elaborate throne than the one that you get in his temple. And you gotta like, you really have to like angle these swords if you're gonna keep him holding them. Although it'd be a lot easier if you took them out. I just like having him hold them. And then just press him in. It's a little bit hard because he's so like tall and fragile, but that's a pretty good look once he's in. The dragon itself is a really interesting design because it's really kind of heavy and low to the ground, which isn't something you see from Ninjago dragons a lot. Ninjago dragons are inspired by like Chinese dragons, and I mean not completely because they do have wings and Chinese dragons don't. But Ninjago dragons have always been like very slender, I think. And so it's really interesting to see one that is like so kind of thick and chunky. But I really like that. It's very different, and it made it kind of more interesting to put together because it still has plenty of detail, but I didn't have to spend like a lot of time fiddling with tiny little things. There's a lot of just big bricks and everything that go into building this. A good example of how this dragon stands apart from other Ninjago ones are the wings. These wings are made out of this new blade mold cast in pearl gold, and I really like it. But this is kind of a return to form for LEGO Ninjago. They've been doing vinyl wings a lot lately, or cloth wings, and I don't like those. I like these kind of bladed, fanned-out wings. Now, to be fair, they are extremely small, and normally I wouldn't be starting at the wing section, but there is a function here, and I'm going to be using it so that we can get a better look at the body. So I figure we might as well just look at it now. So you can't actually adjust these flaps like in and out like you could on the original dragons, but you can see that there's some geared mechanism there. So what you can do is you can turn this old spinner crown piece, and it'll actually fan the wings in and out. And I think that that's a pretty nice feature. It's kind of not what I was expecting. I was honestly expecting it to be more of a flapping function because I didn't pay that much attention before I built it. But I like this as well because it's almost like it's going to like cut an enemy that comes in front. LEGO's always used like sword blade pieces for wings or like helicopter blades, but this is the first time that it actually makes me feel like the wings are razor sharp and could actually do some damage. Unfortunately, though, there is no other articulation. They're just attached with the lift arms here. And so I think that that is probably my least favorite part of the dragon. I wish that you could flap the wings. I wish that they could just move up and down instead of only like in and out like this, because the in and out thing is like kind of all concentrated like right here onto this sub-assembly. So I feel like LEGO could have added an up and down flapping function as well. It didn't need to be remotely activated or anything, but you could have just put that instead of the lift arms. Like you could have just had a couple of ratcheted joints. And honestly, since the wings are kind of in the way, I'm just going to take them off for the rest of this review, just because it'll give us easier access to the body. So that's what they look like once you've declawed your dragon or de-winged your dragon, I guess. And now we can get a better look at everything else. So with the wings gone, you can see more of that kind of chunky, stout build that I was talking about. It's got very small little legs, and they are like really thick. LEGO uses a ton of these wedge bricks in a pearl gold across the entire dragon, and I really like this piece. It's just a cool piece in general, and getting so many parts in pearl gold is just a really nice treat. They also use like this newer style ridged armor piece that I think works really well. Other than that, I don't think there are too many pieces that are new in pearl gold. Again, aside from like the bricks, because you don't usually see bricks this large in that color. But like all of these kind of segmented armor pieces and of course all of the smaller pieces I think already existed in this color. So the main body here is actually hinged in the middle, which is something that we've seen on some dragons before. I know the jungle dragon was hinged. Whoops. The tail broke off. That was not supposed to happen. But the jungle dragon was hinged like up and down in the middle, and you couldn't move it. It was fixed in place, but you can move it here. And I kind of like that because it lets it gives it another range of motion that's pretty interesting. Usually I don't like things like this, but on this set I do. So back here, as you get closer to the tail, you have, like I mentioned before, a lot of segmented armor, and then just some pearl gold wedge bricks, and then detailing with ingot parts, and then these kind of angled L-shaped tiles. And I think that that's a pretty good look. The only thing I don't like right in this section is that you can see all of these like gaudy colors on the inside. I understand why LEGO uses brightly colored pieces in the build, but I think that they should not be anywhere near this visible on the finished product, especially for a dragon that's all gold like this. We might as well just finish with the tail before we move to the front of the body, since we're back here anyways. The tail actually hinges up and down right here instead of moving side to side. So that's kind of interesting. You can like flatten it and then, well, no, hang on, sorry. I think it's this one, yeah. You can flatten like this one, and then you can move it side to side a little bit more because it is just got that kind of ratcheted joint. But I do wish it had a little bit of side to side motion right here. It's not the biggest deal to me since I do like being able to pull it up, kind of like a rattlesnake's tail. But yeah, even the tail itself, as you can see, it has very thick sub-assemblies back here. Usually LEGO Dragon tails are much more slender, and they usually get a lot skinnier. But again, this is a short tail. Like, it's a decent size considering the length of the dragon, but for a LEGO Ninjago set, it's not that big. We also have like a little mini ball joint down here. I think that's just to stop the tail from tilting too far down, which was a good inclusion. Again, more of those ridged armor pieces. And then the tip of the tail is actually a really cool build. It uses two of these like blade pieces that were introduced last summer. And so it kind of reminds me of a whale tail almost, the shape. And then you have that hat piece and then one of these older style blades at the end. And so I just really like the look of it overall. The main part of the body is built up with a ton of these wedge bricks in every direction, and I do like the shaping here. It can seem a little bit random and messy, like I think it's a little bit awkward in this corner, but I really like getting all of these parts in this color. And then on top, you do just have a little spot with two jumpers to put Golden Oni Lloyd. This is another thing that I think could have been a little bit cooler because, as you can see, it's just two jumpers and like a little one of those like angled pieces. And it would have been cooler if there was something more ornate, like on the original and legacy remakes of the Ultra Dragon, there's a whole like little mini throne up there. And so I would have liked to see something going on here because there's definitely room to add more stuff. The body is also extremely rounded for a Ninjago dragon, and this is really, you know, like kind of my favorite part of the build. I love how powerful the dragon's chest looks. So you have these newer style of rounded bricks used here, and those move very well into the slopes. Let me just move that foot out of the way. It's very round. Like it makes the dragon look not like pot-bellied, but I don't know. It's just you don't usually see shapes this round on LEGO dragons. And then I really like how they made its chest kind of furry. Like it reminds me of my dog's like chest right here because his like fur is like this as well. But LEGO just uses these like angled like tile pieces, and I think that that's a really clever use because segmenting it like this, it kind of looks like scaly armor, but I think what they're going for here is hair because it's in white and it really just does look like shaggy. And before we get to the heads, I do want to talk about the legs because they are probably my least favorite part of the build. Again, much like the rest of the dragon, they're very large and they use a lot of like sharp angles and pieces like that. The shaping is cool. That piece should really be in gold though. Dark tan just kind of throws off the color scheme a little bit. I don't mind the dark tan used in other places like in the feet, but right there, that one would be better in gold. But the legs are just kind of awkward. So, I mean, I like the feet. You have plenty of range of motion at the ankle. I think they're built up very nicely. And the claws are pretty interesting because two of them are actually like on their side and you can move them in and out. And then the last one is kind of just a regular claw and you can move it up and down. So that's an interesting build. I like it. I would have preferred if they were all just regular claws, but I do like the variety. But what I don't like is that this thing is just so heavy that it's very hard to get it to stand up on its legs. Like it keeps slipping down like that whenever I'm doing like anything. Like it's fallen down already a lot, like while making the other parts of this video. And that's just, it's kind of annoying because I feel like the joints should be stronger, or maybe the legs should have been, or the rest of the dragon should have been lighter. But the same thing happens with the tail. It's like very easy to knock it down. Like there's not a lot of friction in these joints. And it's just because they are using so many big, heavy wedge bricks. So I think the legs look good. The back leg I think looks a little bit better than the front leg, but there's not a lot of motion here. You can't bend it at the knee. That's something that is irritating to me. I don't know why LEGO keeps restricting articulation on their mechs and animals, because even the Crystal King mech I thought was limited in articulation. But I kind of understand in this case why they've locked it in place, because if it could bend at the knee, this thing would just constantly be falling forwards. And the other reason that it's annoying to me is that you can't get the dragon to be standing very high up. Again, I know it is supposed to be like a dragon that's low to the ground, and I do like that about it, but I would like it to be able to stand up without immediately wanting to collapse onto its front legs. So right now it's kind of stable, but it's difficult to get it into, like, you know, stable position sometimes. You do have one of these stronger joints like right here that you can move up and down just by one click, which really feels like limited motion to me. You have plenty of forward and back motion, but only being able to move it like one click in and out, I do think that hurts this build a little bit. At the back, you've got the same kind of joint, but you can move it a lot more, so that's a lot more useful. And I get that LEGO use these joints because they're stronger, but I mean, the thing is still pretty weak at the front. Like, the front legs are still pretty weak. The front legs still want to collapse and move outwards. So I don't know how much that joint actually helped them. But here's a little bit of a clearer look at the back leg, because I didn't really show that to you guys properly. But that pretty much does it for the legs. They're just kind of a letdown, in my opinion. The heads are definitely the main attraction here, though. And I far prefer molded heads to brick-built heads. That was my least favorite part of the Legacy Ultra Dragon, the disgusting brick-built heads. So I'm really glad to see them molded here. And there's actually an interesting new piece used for the lower jaw on these guys. I do like overall, like, this kind of new molded head system that LEGO introduced, I think it was last year, because I think it's really cool how these pieces can be both the head, but then you can flip them over. I mean, they can be both the head and the lower jaw, but they can be used like kind of vice versa, as you can see with this head, which uses like the bottom piece as the upper jaw. Another thing that's different is that three heads are kind of sprouting out of the body at the same level, and then this one is kind of lower. And I really like the way that this was done, because on the original Ultra Dragon in the show, like, all four heads are next to each other, but in the LEGO version, the original one, it was kind of like two on the bottom, two on the top, and then I think all four were next to each other on the Legacy Ultra Dragon. But this is my favorite neck arrangement so far. I really like having kind of three lower ones and then one higher one, because it kind of makes it look like a Hydra, in my opinion, like that creature from Greek mythology. And I think that that's just a really cool thing to kind of emulate. So this is the Ice Dragon head. I really love this piece. I think it's printed really nicely, and the transparent blue just looks excellent. The one thing I don't like about these heads is that they're attached with like an axle, and then as you can see, there's just this 1x3 plate with two clips. And that's kind of what governs like the upper and lower jaws. So it's kind of hard to line them up sometimes. You can really make this thing like bite really weirdly. And so I do kind of just wish that they lined up a little bit neater. But I mean, hey, other than that, I think that they look really good. And there is a little bit of elemental detail on the neck, and all of the necks of these guys look really good. They're built in pretty much the exact same way. The only difference is the accent colors on top. The middle head is the Earth Dragon. That's why it's so much bigger and kind of more powerful looking than the other ones. I do like the print here as well. It does look pretty dirty and earthy. And the horns are a nice touch, but honestly, I wish they were a different color. I do hate the orange accent color for Cole, but maybe if these were an orange or a brown or even black instead, I think that they would stand out better and look better, because the other dragons do have kind of like more accent colors. Like the other heads, you know, they have this transparent yellow or the transparent blue, and this guy just doesn't get it. He does have a different build for the neck though. It's much rockier with dark gray and black pieces, which I think that looks pretty good. It does throw off the color scheme a little bit more so than the other necks, but yeah, that just makes him the most unique. Here's the Lightning Dragon head. It's done in a transparent yellow that I think looks really good. And the neck just has a couple of those pieces as well. I haven't mentioned this, but I'm sure you can see that the neck has a lot of articulation because it moves at its root, and then it moves over here, and then the head also moves separately. So I really, really like that. Kind of makes them even more snake-like, more Hydra-like. But anyway, back to this guy's head. The bottom part is actually the Water Dragon's headpiece from 2021. I do wish there were tiles or something on the bottom here. They weren't really necessary, but it would have been nice to just have this smoothed over. But this is my favorite head assembly. I really like this kind of horned chin look with the sleek head. The newer, like more powerful pieces are cool, but I just find this look to be a little bit more interesting. But that's not my favorite head, because my favorite head belongs to the fire dragon, which is up on top here. And I really, really like what the designer did with this one. This piece, I think that this is the piece from the jungle dragon, but I love the print on here. I think that this is the best print out of any of the dragons in this set. It just looks really like aggressive and fierce, and I quite like that. So I lied. Maybe like this combination of pieces is my favorite rather than the lightning dragon one. But it's using the same kind of bottom piece as the lightning dragon. And again, there's just so much articulation here. The only other thing I think the designer could have done better would be maybe adding some fire for the heads or a shooter function, because the original dragons were able to shoot out of their mouths. You do have some fiery pieces put as accent colors on top. And then this one also has golden horns. And yeah, I would have liked to see these in red or just something that would stand out a little bit more. But I think that they look really good. The only other thing I want to say about the heads is that, yeah, they also tend to droop sometimes, like the legs. So I think this thing looks really good, but I mean, it's kind of just hard for me to pose, because even if I want to put the heads in a bunch of crazy positions, they're going to fall down unless they're like leaning against each other, unless they're like positioned in such a way that they can't fall down. The weight of the heads does just pull them down. And that is my biggest problem with this set. I really like the design. I love the colors. But like, I like how heavy this set looks, but I don't like how heavy this set is, because it shouldn't be this easy for things to like be drooping and falling everywhere. There are some pretty nice extra pieces in this set, a lot of gold as you can see, but you do get duplicates of all of the golden weapons, and a lot of extra golden katanas as well. The box for this set is Lego's typical $100 box size, and I do really like the art with the thing like zooming in. It's very hard to get a sense of the build, I think, just from the box, just because it kind of looks more like a dragonfly than an actual dragon. But yeah, you guys know I love the design for the crystallized boxes in general. The colors really, really pop on these. And then at the back, it just kind of shows you that the wings can move in and out. But yeah, these boxes do not really show off a lot of the set. Here is the instruction manual. At the back, you do have an ad for the other crystallized sets. Overall, I like this set a lot better than I thought I would, especially considering that I didn't really like the last Ultra Dragon that Lego made, but I loved the original. The problem is, though, that especially while filming this review, I was just reminded of all of the problems that this set has, and overall, I can't really recommend it. I think that it looks beautiful on display. I'm definitely going to keep it built for a very long time. It's obviously quite the statement piece because it is so large and it's so golden. You get some great minifigures in this set, but there's only one exclusive one. So overall, it just doesn't really... Like, the build has the oomph that you want a flagship set to have for the wave, but it's not even the biggest set in terms of piece count. It's extremely overpriced. $150 is crazy for this. I mean, I've always been a very much price per piece kind of guy. This set has less than 1,000 pieces, but I don't think that that's the problem, because there are so many huge, like, chunky bricks. Like, you really don't get it until you've assembled the set. It's not like building any other Lego Dragon, because the pieces are so large, but it's not in a bad way. It's not in like a juniorized way. So the piece count doesn't really bother me. I think that this set would be perfect at 120. I think it would be a passable value at 130, which shocked me because when the set was revealed, I was like, oh, it should be $100 or like 110 max. So I think the original price of 140 was too much, but not as bad as I thought it was. But 150 is definitely too much. This would be a perfect $120 set. And I mean, perfect relatively, I mean, perfect for the price, but it's not great that this dragon is so heavy it can't even stand up on its own legs. That really bothers me. And it's just, I don't know. It's just, I wish that the articulation was better on it. I don't think Lego should be making sets so heavy that they're constantly collapsing and like the heads can't even stay up. Like, I've posed them for this shot, but as you guys saw in the review, they do tend to droop way more than you want them to. And so I think Lego's made much better dragons from Ninjago as toys. But I do think that this one is kind of unrivaled in terms of display piece and visual impact, which is why I like it so much, because I'm not going to be playing with it. So that's it for today. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com, and I'll see you guys in more videos soon. Bye for now.